In March of 1922, on a remote farmstead in Bavaria, something stalked the Gruber family, and it didn't arrive the night they were killed. It may have been there for days. The farm was called Hinterkaifeck, isolated by dense forest and miles of empty land. Andreas Gruber lived there with his wife, his adult daughter, her two small children, and a new maid who had arrived just hours before everything went silent. Days before the murders, Andreas told neighbors about strange things happening on the property. Footprints appeared in the snow, leading from the forest to the house, but never back out. Tools went missing. Strange noises echoed from the attic at night. No one believed him. Then the mail stopped being collected. Smoke still rose from the chimney. The livestock were fed, but no one was seen. When neighbors finally forced their way into the barn, they found the bodies. 4 members of the family were lying in a pile, stacked carefully in the hay. Each had been lured into the barn, one by one, and killed with a mattock, a farming tool kept on the property. They never saw it coming. Inside the house, the horror continued. The maid was found dead in her bed. One of the children lay in her crib, still wrapped in the blankets. She had lived for hours after the attack. Investigators later found clumps of her own hair in her hands. But the most disturbing part wasn't how they died. It was what happened after. The killer didn't flee, they stayed. Food was eaten, beds were slept in, the animals were cared for. Neighbors later realized someone had been living in the house with the bodies, possibly for days. Even worse, when police searched the attic, they found signs someone had been hiding there before the murders. A makeshift nest, footprints, scraps of food. The family had been watched. Suspects were questioned, but no arrests were ever made. The weapon disappeared. The motive was never confirmed. The case went cold and remains unsolved over a century later. Hinterkaifeck was eventually demolished. Nothing stands there now but an empty clearing. No house, no farm, no answers. Just the lingering question no one can explain. If the killer was already inside the house, how long had they been listening? If this story gave you chills, subscribe and visit the page for a deeper dive into these stories.